All right, hello, fans of the Goblins and of Sanity. Um, Mrs. Goblin is back and ready to divulge even more inside secrets and another easy recipe for breakfast, since it seems like Sanity has come at a loss for what he can make for breakfast that's not on the expensive side. So we're gonna go cheap and make some pancakes and maybe amplify them a little bit by adding a little lemon pudding to them. So I will get back to you here in a moment and we'll start that progress going. All right, so for those of you that can get some Bisquick pancake mix, that would be the best option. More easy. I actually found an easy recipe for just a nice simple pancake mix. So I've already put together all the dry, and now I'm going to add some milk per the recipe, some butter, an egg, then the lemon pudding. What I did was, the recipe called for 1.25 cups of milk. So instead of doing that, I put in already a cup of milk, and there's 1/4 cup of the lemon pudding. This just adds a little extra flavor to your pancakes. And it's relatively easy to make some pudding. You can even turn it into chocolate pudding or any kinds of pudding, and pudding's pretty cheap to buy as well, so that's another option for you to upgrade your pancakes. All right, so it's thoroughly mixed. Try and get as much of the lumps out as possible. And what I like to do is kind of use a little 1/4 cup measuring, because that gets your pancakes kind of a perfect size. If you have a griddle at home like this, then that makes life a lot easier as well, but you can just use a nice non-stick pan on the stove top as well. And what I always like to do too is, if you want to add like either some fresh fruit, or I know Sanity would love this, chocolate chips, you know, you can do that as well. I like to kind of hand place them in there, then that way you kind of get them evenly distributed versus putting it in the batter and then mixing it, because you'll end up with like one pancake with 15 and then another one that's got like only 2. So now we'll just let these guys cook on one side. And the deal is that you want to look for like little air bubbles starting to develop. That'll let you know that it's getting close to being done on one side. You can also look at the edges and kind of see if they're getting a little more dry in appearance versus wet like that. Some of these are almost ready to flip here. Not too shabby, if I may say. So we'll wait for them to cook. Since they have the little blueberries in them, I'm going to let them cook a little longer on that opposite side. You can kind of poke them with a fork when you think that maybe one of them's getting a little bit close, just to make sure that there's no wet pancake mix still in there. I think that one's good. We'll put this over with our already made bacon. Gotta have bacon. We just love our bacon. So I know that Mr. Goblin was getting all excited about possibly adding other types of ingredients in a pancake. You can turn these from savory to sweet, you know, all kinds of things can be put into a pancake. So if you are more in line of enjoying something that's savory, you can put meats. So certainly you can crumble up some bacon and sprinkle that in there, cheese, all of that stuff. Fresh herbs are always good. And a lot of the time you can get fresh herbs for relatively inexpensive. You know, cilantro, if you really like it. My understanding is that some people have a palate for cilantro and then others absolutely hate it. So you have to decide whether or not you're one of those that has the genetic marker or whatever that makes it so that you enjoy cilantro, or if you're gonna absolutely despise it. All right, I'm just gonna finish up the last little bit, and then we'll do a little discussion about some more insider secrets on Sanity. All right, so I have the last two pancakes on the griddle, and while we're waiting for those bad bears to finish up, I'll go into Sanity's love story. Leo, you were not his first. Unfortunately, he still is having an affair, I think, and it's with sugar. He absolutely loves anything with sugar in it, to the point that he had, as like 5 or 6 years of age, got into sugar dispensers and literally ate sugar out of the sugar dispenser. He ate an entire jar of mint jelly that my mom had while he was staying the night over at her place, which quite honestly really ticked her off because she had plans for that mint jelly. Then there was the cake sprinkles, and just, I mean, anything that was made of sugar was, you know, fair game for him. And it got to the point that it was becoming so frustrating that at one point in time, I even locked up the refrigerator for a period, just in the evening, so then that way he would not be able to get up in the middle of the night to devour whatever was in the fridge or whatnot that was full of sugar. So unfortunately, Leo, I think he's still having an affair with sugar, and you know, I don't know that he's ever going to be able to let that one go. But yeah, that's one of his little secrets, and it was amusing but not so amusing when I would go to try and use something for a planned baking, and find out that he had eaten like all the chocolate or eaten all the cake sprinkles or whatever it was that I had specifically purchased for that recipe, and then have to go out and buy it. Ultimately, as he got older, I made him have to go and buy it with his allowance money. So he would have to actually use his allowance money to go and buy the item that he had eaten without our permission. So then that way I could still do my recipes. All right, so it looks like these are just about done. All right, so before I get into enjoying this wonderful breakfast that I've prepared, Mr. Goblin also brought up a interesting story about Sanity's love affair with sugar, and some of the other things that Mr. Goblin had to deal with was he would often buy those nice little cookie kits and cake kits that, you know, have all the components that you can make whatever it is, cupcakes, cookies, whatnot. And they would be all of a sudden had been gotten into because Sanity decided he was going to eat the like frosting or the sprinkles or whatever he could eat that was edible in the kit. And so we would be stuck with just these dry components with no frosting and whatnot on them, or no, chocolate chips or sprinkles or whatever it is. So, that was another nice little thing we had to deal with as well. Okay, so you can take your pancakes and just go basic and put some regular syrup on them, or go outside of the box. And Sanity, I know, is aware of Popping Boba. Now, it might be a little difficult to get a hold of Popping Boba outside of some kind of already mixed drink, but we found them in an Amish store. This one's passion fruit, and this one is kiwi. Okay, all of a sudden I'm having a Mr. Goblin moment, and I can't open it. Okay, there we go. So, and here's the kiwi. And we're just gonna pop those Popping Boba right on our, and this is even better than syrup. We tried this a little while ago and thoroughly enjoyed it, so now we're kind of hooked on it. I don't know how I'm going to get my hands on some more boba. I guess we'll have to go back to that store. But if you can get a hold of some nice fresh boba, I know there's recipes for making them, but that might be a little bit more out of certain people's realm. You can certainly buy boba drinks that have Popping Boba in them. And you can even go as far as getting like those milk teas, which would be really neat to put into a pancake batter. Instead of like straight up milk, you can use milk tea and get one of those flavored milk teas, add it to the batter, and that would add some more flavor. So there's all kinds of ideas out there, and I'm sure that Sanity could come up with even more. So there's a little bit more secrets coming ahead in the future, but we'll leave you with those little tidbits for today. Mm-mm-mm.